Hello, everyone, and welcome to MSU-FCU's Financial Education Seminar Series. We're glad that you chose to spend part of your day with us here. My name is Therese Bacon, and I'll be your facilitator for tonight's session. These seminars are designed to provide clear, practical financial education that you can actually use in everyday life. The goal is not jargon or pressure, just information that helps you feel more confident making decisions about your money at every stage of life. We offer sessions throughout the year on a wide range of topics, and you can view upcoming events and register anytime at msufcu.org/events. Today's session is being recorded and will be available to rewatch or share on youtube.com/msufcu under the seminar series playlist there. If questions come up during the presentation, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen to submit those, and then we'll go ahead and address those once the presentation concludes. And if you experience any technical issues, go ahead and try to message me directly, and I can help you through the chat there. Today's session focuses on Social Security, an important piece of retirement planning that often raises questions and confusion sometimes, from understanding when to claim benefits to knowing, how work and spouses and Medicare factor into your decisions. Having accurate information can really make a meaningful difference as you plan for that next stage of life. Pleased to welcome Hillary Hatch back with us again tonight. She's a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. Hillary brings direct insight into the retirement program and will help walk us through these topics so you can better understand and plan with more confidence. Hillary, welcome. Thanks for being here again. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to get started.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for being here tonight. I'm really excited to share information with you about Social Security. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. So there's a lot of information that we are going to cover tonight. One of the things that I talk about a lot throughout the presentation is having a My Social Security account. So if you go to our website, ssa.gov, that's where you can log in or create a My Social Security account. And by having an online account, that is where you can get all of your personalized information about your Social Security benefits. So again, I'm going to be referencing that My Social Security account throughout the presentation tonight. And then towards the end of the presentation, I'll go into a little more detail and then show you some screenshots on how you sign up. And then a couple of different features in there that I think that you will find helpful when you're thinking about retirement planning. So the number one question that we typically get asked at Social Security is individuals wanting to know, what is the best age to start collecting benefits? Is there a magic age, a magic number, a magic time when I should start getting those benefits? And there really isn't a one best age for everyone, but there's probably a best age for you. There's lots of different things to consider when you're thinking about when you want to start receiving your Social Security benefits, a lot of different numbers to know. And that's really what we're going to focus on tonight. We're going to talk about the different numbers that you need to know, where to get that information, and that's going to help you determine when the best time to start collecting benefits is for you. So some of the things we will talk about is just understanding when you can start collecting benefits, the earliest that you can start getting benefits, knowing your full retirement age and how that impacts how much your benefit will be. So if you start collecting at 62 versus waiting until age 70 and all of the ages in between, how is that going to impact your monthly benefit amount? How much can your spouse receive off of your record, or will your spouse even be entitled to benefits off of your record? Or if there is a divorced spouse that is involved, how does that impact the benefits? How much can you earn while you're collecting benefits? So if you're someone that wants to start collecting Social Security and continue to work, you can do that, but there are some earnings limits, and we will talk about that. And then we will also talk about Medicare as well, and we will talk about the different enrollment periods and then also the cost of Medicare. So how you qualify for a retirement benefit is by earning credits when you work and pay Social Security taxes. So to qualify for a Social Security benefit off of your own work record, you need to have 40 credits, which is 10 years of work, and you must be 62 or older. To earn a credit, it's based on a dollar amount. So for this year, to earn one credit, you would need to make at least $1,890 in gross wages. You can earn a maximum of 4 credits per year. So for this year, to earn all 4 credits, you must earn at least $7,560. And it doesn't matter if you make all of that in 1 month or if it takes you the course of the entire year. Once you have reached that number, you have earned those 4 credits. So one thing that's important to know about credits is that once you earn them, you never lose them. So if you're someone that has started out in the workforce at an earlier age, and then you leave the workforce for an extended period of time, maybe to take care of family, take care of children, whatever the case may be, when you re-enter the workforce later on, any credits that you had before are still there. So the takeaway here is, in order to qualify for a retirement benefit based off of your own work record, you need to have 40 credits, which is 10 years of work, doesn't have to be consecutive, and you must be 62 or older. How Social Security determines your benefit amount is based on your earnings over your entire lifetime. So your wages are adjusted for changes in wage levels over time. So that basically means we're giving a higher value to your actual wages. We then find the monthly average of your 35 highest earnings years, and the result is the average index monthly earnings. So this is how we determine what your monthly Social Security benefit is. We look at your earnings over your entire lifetime. We adjust them based on inflation, so we give them a higher value. And then we pick out the 35 highest years. We use those years in the computation to determine how much the monthly benefit is going to be. If you're someone that doesn't have 35 years of work, that's fine. Let's say you only have 25 years of work. That means we would use all 25 years in the computation, and we would use 10 zeros because we always use 35 years in that computation. Knowing your full retirement age is extremely important because at full retirement age is when you receive your full Social Security benefit. So for example, someone born 1960 or later, full retirement age is age 67. That's when you would receive your full Social Security benefit. Now, you can start collecting retirement benefits as early as age 62. So that's the earliest that any of us can start collecting those retirement benefits, but there's going to be a reduction. So for someone born 1960 or later, if they were to start collecting benefits at age 62, they would only receive 70% of their benefit. From the time you reach full retirement age up until age 70, you can earn what we call delayed retirement credits. Once you reach age 70, your benefit doesn't increase anymore based on your age. So there would be no point in delaying and filing for benefits once you reach age 70. So someone born 1960 or later, if they were to wait until age 70 to collect, you can see the percentage there, it's 124%. So this chart shows exactly what I just talked about, but it's giving you dollar amounts. So for someone born 1960 or later, full retirement age is age 67. In this example, this individual, their monthly benefit is $2,000 at their full retirement age. And you can see how when they file is going to impact their Social Security benefit. So let's say they start collecting at age 62. Their monthly benefit is only going to be $1,400 per month. But let's say they wait until age 70 to collect. Their monthly benefit is going to be the $2,480 per month. Once you file and start collecting, you are locked into that amount. So if this person starts collecting at age 62 and they're only receiving $1,400 per month, once they reach full retirement age, their benefit doesn't increase to $2,000. They're still receiving that $1,400 per month. Now, there's typically cost of living increases that will take place each year. So that's one way that the benefit can increase. But just keep in mind, once you file and start collecting, you are locked into that amount. Something else about this chart is that it's only showing yearly increases, but it's monthly. So every month that you wait to file, the higher your benefit is going to be. There is something that is called a voluntary suspension. So, like I just mentioned, when you file and start collecting, you are locked into that amount. However, once you reach full retirement age, you can decide that you want to suspend your benefits so you can get those delayed retirement credits and then start collecting once you're 70 or even prior to 70. You can start collecting your benefits so you can earn some of those delayed retirement credits. But keep in mind that if anyone else is receiving benefits off of your record, unless it's a divorced spouse, their benefits that they would receive off of your record would also be suspended. So if you're someone that is collecting your retirement benefit and you have a spouse that is collecting benefits off of your record, maybe you have minor children that are collecting benefits off of your record, and you are, 65 and you decide, or I'm sorry, you're 67 and you decide, I'm going to suspend my benefits until 70 so I can get those delayed retirement credits. The benefits that your spouse and your children receive on your record, those would also be suspended until your full retirement age, or if you decide to start those benefits back up prior to full retirement age. Next, I'm going to transition into benefits for spouses and divorced spouses, and then I will talk about benefits for children and survivor benefits. The next set of slides has a ton of information on them. I am going to go through the bullet points because it's important information, but I'm also going to provide an example. So hopefully you'll have a better understanding of how this works. I know it can get confusing. So when we talk about benefits for spouses, the maximum benefit that a spouse can receive is 50% of the worker's unreduced benefit. There is a reduction for early retirement. If the spouse's own benefit is less than 50% of the workers, they will be combined to equal 50% of the workers. It does not reduce the payment to the worker. If the benefit is unreduced if the spouse is caring for a worker's child younger than 16 or disabled, and spousal benefits are not payable until the worker collects. So let's say my husband at his full retirement age, his benefit amount is $2,000. That means the most that I can receive is 50% of that. So the most I can get is $1,000. Now I'm only going to receive that $1,000 if I start collecting at my full retirement age. If I start collecting prior to my full retirement age, the percentage I receive is going to be reduced. And the benefit amount will just depend on how old I am at the time I start collecting. Now, if I'm also due a benefit on my own work record and it's higher than 50% of his, I'm not going to be entitled to a spousal benefit. So if the benefits on my own record are, let's say, $1,200 per month, I cannot get a spousal benefit because my own benefits are higher than 50% of his. But if the benefits on my own record are $700 per month at my full retirement age, that means I could get the $700 off of my own record, plus an additional $300 would be the spousal benefit, and the combination of the two equal 50% of his. Again, I'm speaking as if I am collecting at my full retirement age. If I start collecting early, those amounts are going to be different, and the amount will just depend on how old I am at the time I start collecting. The one exception to this rule is if we have a child that is younger than 16 or a disabled child that I'm caring for, then my spousal benefit would not be reduced if I started collecting that prior to my full retirement age. Anything I receive off of my husband's record, it's not going to reduce his benefit at all. If I am going to be entitled to a spousal benefit, I cannot start collecting until my husband files and collects benefits off of his own record. So it's very possible that if I'm doing a benefit off of my own record, plus I'm going to be doing a spousal benefit, and I'm ready to file and collect, and I'm getting benefits off of my own record, but my husband isn't ready to file yet, that's okay. Later on, whenever he decides to file and collect off of his own record, that's when I could start collecting that additional spousal benefit. Benefits for divorced spouses are similar, but there are some differences here. So you can receive benefits on your former spouse's record, even if he or she has remarried. if the marriage lasted at least 10 years, you are unmarried, you are age 62 or older, your ex-spouse is at least 62 and eligible for benefits, even if they're not collecting. So that's a big difference. And the benefit you would receive based on your own work is less than the benefit you would receive based on your ex-spouse's work. So let's say my ex-husband, at his full retirement age, his benefit amount is $2,000. The most that I could receive is half of that, so 50%, that $1,000. But if the benefit on my own record is higher than that, I cannot get benefits off of his record. If the benefit on my own record is less, that means I can receive a combination of the two to equal 50% of his benefit. If I'm 62 and I'm ready to file and start collecting, and I'm going to be due benefits off of his record, off my ex-husband's record, I can start collecting those benefits as long as he is at least 62 and eligible, even if he's not collecting. If we were married, I would have to wait for him to file and collect for me to get the spousal benefit. But because we're divorced, I can collect off of his record even if he's not collecting. If I am receiving benefits off of his record as a divorced spouse, it's not going to impact his benefit amount at all. If he is remarried and his spouse is going to be getting benefits off of his record, me collecting benefits as an ex-spouse would not impact those benefits either. So it's possible that he can be getting benefits off of his own record, his spouse is getting benefits off of his record, and then I can start collecting as a divorced spouse, and it would not impact anyone else getting benefits off of his record. When you have an online account, a My Social Security account, you will have access to your personal Social Security information, including benefit estimates for what you can receive off of your own record. But if you are someone that may be entitled to benefits as a divorced spouse, that information is not available online. So you would want to reach out to your local Social Security office to get an estimate of what you could receive or potentially receive as a divorced spouse. When we talk about the benefit amount that a spouse or a divorced spouse can receive, it's 50% of the worker's benefit at their full retirement age, regardless of when they file. So if my husband or my ex-husband, his full retirement age is age 67, his benefit at that time at his full retirement age is $1,000. Again, I can potentially be entitled up to 50% of that, so $500. If he were to file early, let's say at age 62, that 50% amount that I could receive is still based on that $1,000, not the $700. Same is true if we go in the opposite direction. So if my husband or my ex-husband waits until age 70 to file, after he has all of those delayed retirement credits, that 50% amount that I could be entitled to is 50% of that $1,000, not his age 70 amount. When it comes to benefits for children, Social Security can pay benefits to children if a parent is receiving a disability benefit or a retirement benefit, or if a parent has passed away, there could be a potential survivor benefit that is payable. In order for a child to qualify off of a parent's record, they have to be unmarried, younger than age 18, or up to age 19 if they are still in high school full-time, or if they are 18 or older and disabled from a disability that started before the age of 22. When someone files for retirement benefits, we will ask a lot of questions about marriages, but then we will also ask questions about children as well. And so we are basically asking, do you have any minor children? Do you have any children that became disabled before the age of 22? If you answer yes to those questions, then that will indicate to Social Security, okay, we need to take an application because there's a child or children that could potentially be eligible for benefits off of mom or dad's record. If I am going to be filing for retirement benefits and I have minor children or I have children that are older and they became disabled before the age of 22, if they are going to be entitled to benefits off of my record, it doesn't impact my benefit amount at all. And the amount that they can receive is 50% of my benefit at my full retirement age, even if I file at age 62. That 50% amount that they could receive is based on my full retirement age amount, not my age 62 amount when I file. So now I'm going to transition into survivor benefits. Again, a child or disabled child can receive survivor benefits off of a parent's record. But there's also, surviving spouses and divorced surviving spouses that can be payable. So these individuals can receive full benefits at their full retirement age, or they can receive reduced benefits as early as age 60, as early as age 50 if disabled, or at any age if caring for a child of the deceased worker who is under age 16, has a disability, and is receiving those benefits off of that deceased worker's record. Remarriage after age 60 will not impact survivor benefits. So when you pass away, your surviving spouse may claim survivor benefits as early as age 50 if they have a disability. Otherwise, at any age between 60 and their full retirement age. And the amount they receive will just depend on how old they are at the time they start collecting. So for example, if someone starts collecting at age 60, they would receive 71.5% of the full benefit, and that increases each month up to 100% if they start getting that survivor benefit at full retirement age. An example of how survivor benefits work, and this is just one example. There are so many different scenarios, but let's say my husband and I are both receiving retirement benefits. Let's say he is getting a benefit off of his own work record of $2,000 per month. I'm getting a Social Security retirement benefit off of my own work record of $1,500 per month. Let's say we're in our 70s and my husband passes away first. So if that's the case, if he passes away first, I am going to drop the $1,500 I receive on my own record, and I'm going to start collecting the $2,000 that he was receiving. So you don't get both, you just get the higher of the two. And because I'm past my full retirement age, I'm eligible to receive 100% of what he was getting at the time he passed away. If I were to pass away first, he's not going to collect benefits off of my record because it would be less money. So he's just going to continue to get the benefits off of his own work record. If you have a My Social Security account, again, you have estimates for your own benefits, but if you need an estimate for survivor benefits, that's something that is not available online. So you would want to reach out to your local office directly to get an estimate for those survivor benefits. Because there are sometimes, there are instances where someone is eligible for both a retirement benefit and a survivor benefit. So then they can choose to collect one benefit first and wait to collect the other benefit later on. So for example, you could take survivor benefits as early as age 60 and then switch over to retirement benefits on your own record as early as age 62. Maybe you want to wait until age 70 when the benefit would be at its highest, or at any point in between. Another option would be to take those retirement benefits as early as age 62 and then switch over to that survivor benefit at a later date if that benefit amount is going to be higher. So again, by having that online account, you can get the information for your own benefits and get estimates, but to get the survivor benefit amounts, you would want to reach out to your local office directly to get the estimates and then compare the two to see, what's going to be best for you. Individuals can work while they are receiving benefits, but there are some earnings limits that are in place. When we talk about the earnings limits, we are only talking about income from work. So we're not looking at any sort of pension, any 401ks, any IRA distributions. We're only looking at income from work. And this applies to any type of benefit you're receiving. So if you're getting a retirement benefit prior to your full retirement age, a survivor benefit prior to your full retirement age, if you're collecting as a spouse or a divorced spouse and you're under full retirement age, these earnings limits are in place. So for this year, for individuals that are under full retirement age, they can make up to $24,480. That's gross wages. If they make over this amount, Social Security is going to withhold $1 for every $2 they make over the limit. If this is the year someone reaches full retirement age, that earnings limit is $65,160. If they make over this amount, Social Security will withhold $1 for every $3 they make over the limit. Once someone reaches full retirement age and beyond, there is no earnings limit. Now, we do have a special rule for the first year that someone is filing for Social Security benefits, and it's really a monthly earnings limit. So if you see under that $24,480, that smaller amount in parentheses, the $2,040, that's the monthly earnings limit rule. It only applies to the first year that someone files for Social Security benefits. So let's say you're under full retirement age and you are planning on retiring this year or collecting your Social Security benefits this year, and you want your benefits to start in June. So you've been working full time, and then come June, you're going to file for those Social Security benefits. So if you've already been working full time, you've probably already made over the $24,480. So does that mean you cannot collect because you're over the limit? The answer is no. We don't really care how much you made from January through May because you were not collecting Social Security benefits. But starting in June and for the remainder of the year, you have to stay under the $2,040 per month in gross wages. If you go over that amount, you are not due your Social Security benefit for that month. The following year, so now we're on year 2 of receiving benefits, and you're under full retirement age, the $24,480, we don't care if you make all of that in 1 month, if it's over the course of 6 months. It's just that if you go over that amount, Social Security will withhold $1 for every $2 you make over the limit. A lot of times individuals will ask, well, what happens to that money? Do I get that money back? And the answer is no, you don't get the money back. But once you reach full retirement age, we're going to recalculate your benefit, and we're going to give you credit for any of the months we withheld your benefits due to work. And that's going to result in a higher monthly Social Security benefit moving forward. But we don't do that until you reach full retirement age. When it comes to Social Security benefits and taxation, will you have to pay taxes on your Social Security benefits? Probably. It's based on whatever your combined income is. So the IRS defines your combined income as your adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefit. So if you file a joint return and your combined income is between $32,000 and $44,000, you have to pay income tax on up to 50% of your benefits. More than $44,000, up to 85% of your benefits may be taxable. If you file as an individual and your combined income is between $25,000 and $34,000, you have to pay income tax on up to 50% of your benefits. More than $34,000, up to 85% of your benefits may be taxable. When you are receiving benefits, you do have the option to have taxes withheld. There's 4 different percentages you can choose from. If you have an online My Social Security account, you can log into your account and you can choose whatever percentage it is that you want to choose to have those taxes withheld. You can also call your local office or call the 800 number and give us that information over the phone as well. So next I'm going to transition into Medicare. After Medicare, I'm going to talk about some of the online resources available to you, and then we will open it up for questions. So when it comes to Medicare, Social Security does not administer the Medicare program. However, we do enroll individuals into Part A and Part B. So Part A is hospital insurance. Part B is medical insurance. Of course, there are other parts to Medicare. There's the Part D prescription drug plans. There's supplemental insurance coverage known as Medigap policies. There's also Medicare Advantage plans, or those Part C plans. So you can enroll into those other parts of Medicare. You just do that outside of Social Security. However, you first have to enroll in Part A and Part B through Social Security in order to enroll into those other parts of Medicare. It's important to know that you cannot enroll in Medicare just whenever you feel like it. There are certain enrollment periods. It's important to understand what enrollment period pertains to you, because if you do not sign up for Medicare when you should, there could be a penalty. And it's not a one-time penalty. It's a penalty that sticks with you for the duration of you having Medicare. And that penalty, it's a 10% penalty for every 12 months that has lapsed when you should have signed up for Medicare and did not. So that's why it's important to understand the different enrollment periods. For individuals that are already receiving Social Security benefits prior to age 65, they're automatically enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. So usually 2 to 3 months before their 65th birthday is when they get their Medicare card in the mail. So they don't have to do anything because they're already receiving Social Security benefits. If you are someone that is not receiving Social Security benefits and you are turning 65 and you need to enroll in Medicare, you can enroll during the initial enrollment period. So that begins 3 months before your 65th birthday, the month you turn 65, and then 3 months after. So you have this 7-month period where you can enroll into Part A and Part B. Part A has a premium attached to it. Part A is free. Part B has a premium attached to it. Just because you are 65 doesn't necessarily mean that you need Medicare. So the reason that you would not need Medicare is if you are covered under a group health plan based on your current work or your spouse's current work. And if that plan is going to continue to be primary, you don't have to enroll in Medicare, and there won't be a penalty to you if you enroll later on because you have that coverage. So again, Part A is free. Part B has a premium attached to it. Sometimes individuals will choose to enroll in Part A, but not enroll in Part B because, why pay that premium when they already have coverage? And that makes sense. But it's important to know that if you have a health savings account and you enroll in Medicare, you can no longer contribute to that HSA when you are enrolled in Medicare. You can still use the funds in your HSA, but you can no longer contribute. So a lot of times that's why people will choose to wait to enroll in Part A and Part B until later on, because they have an HSA and they have coverage through their current employer, through their group health plan, or through their spouse's current employer's group health plan. So for these individuals, they can enroll later on during what we call the special enrollment period. Again, this is individuals 65 or older. They've been covered under a group health plan based on their current work or their spouse's current work. When they do enroll in Medicare, there's a couple of forms that they have to submit. And one of them is getting verification from the employer, letting Social Security know that they did have coverage up until this time that they're enrolling. So there would not be any sort of penalty. If you are someone that doesn't enroll in Medicare at 65 and you didn't have any coverage, you can still enroll in Medicare during that general enrollment period. But again, there could be a penalty, and that penalty, it's going to be a 10% penalty for every 12 months that has lapsed when you should have signed up for Medicare and did not. So it is important to understand those different enrollment periods. Like I mentioned, Part A is free. Part B has a premium attached to it. The standard premium for Part B this year is $202.90. The Part D plans, the prescription drug plans, those typically also have some sort of premium attached to them. but the premium just depends on whatever plan it is that you choose to enroll in. Higher wage earners do have to pay higher premiums. So we look at the tax return that you filed 2 years prior to determine what your premium is going to be. So for this year, individuals with a modified adjusted gross income of $109,000 or less, married couples $218,000 or less, they are just paying that monthly standard premium of $202.90. If you look at the next income bracket, individuals above 109 up to 137, married couples above 218 up to 274, they are paying the 202.90 per month plus an additional $81.20 per month. And that's per individual that has Medicare. So again, the premium amount that you pay, it's based on what your modified adjusted gross income is. And we look at the tax return that you filed 2 years prior. Your premium can change if your modified adjusted gross income changes. So maybe you or your spouse retires, and so the your modified adjusted gross income is now reduced, and it puts you into a different income bracket there. That means that the premium can be adjusted as well. When it comes to applying for benefits, all of our applications are available online except for survivor benefits. So you can file for retirement benefits, spousal benefits, disability, Medicare only. All of those applications are available online. If you don't want to file online, you don't have to, but you do have to have an appointment. So to file for benefits, to schedule an appointment, you can call our 800 number there, that 1-800-772-1213, and they will schedule an appointment for you. Again, all of the applications are available online except for survivor benefits. So you would have to have an appointment for those survivor benefits. You don't want to just walk into your local Social Security office one day and say, I'm here to file for retirement, because they're just going to set up an appointment for you to come back a different day and different time to take that application. So if you don't want to file online, make sure you have an appointment. You can file for benefits up to 4 months before you want your payments to start. Keep in mind that benefits are paid the month after they are due. So if you indicate on your application you want your benefits to start in March, that means the payment will come in April. So now I'm going to talk just a little bit about that My Social Security account that I have mentioned throughout the presentation. If you go to our website, ssa.gov, at the very top, you will see that Sign In button. Once you select Sign In, you will either sign in with login.gov or id.me. So these are our credentialing partners, and this is how we verify your identity. If you already have a login.gov or id.me account, you can just select whichever one you have, or if you have both, just pick one and just follow the prompts and you'll be able to create that My Social Security account. If you do not have login.gov or id.me accounts, right underneath that, you can see where it says create an account with login.gov or id.me. One really isn't better than the other. I've heard that the credentialing part, or the credentialing piece, so when we're verifying your identity, I've heard people say using id.me is a little bit easier to use, but it's really whatever your preference is. So once you create that account, you're going to have access to a ton of information, and you really can do business with Social Security online. So once you're already receiving benefits, or if you're not receiving benefits, but you have Medicare, through that My Social Security account, this is where you can update any of your contact information, update your bank account. Sometimes individuals need verification to show to a third party that they're receiving benefits and what the benefit amount is. Sometimes individuals need their Medicare ID number. So you can get all of that through your My Social Security account. And then when you are not receiving benefits, one of the biggest advantages of having a My Social Security account is that this is where you can go to get those benefit estimates at different ages or dates of when you want to start receiving benefits. Once you file for benefits, you can check the status of your application, and then you can also use your My Social Security account to get your Social Security statement. So this is what the Social Security statement looks like. This might look familiar to some of you. We used to send this out to everyone, 18 and older. We don't do that anymore. The statement does still get mailed out to individuals age 60 or older, not receiving benefits, and who do not have an online account. But for the rest of us, we can access our statement online through our account. I know there are a lot of financial planners that will ask their clients to provide them with their Social Security statement as a starting place to help them when they're thinking about retirement and what that's going to look like, because it has really good information on there. It gives you benefit information or benefit estimates at different ages. It will tell you, what survivor benefits could be if you were to pass away, what those benefits could be payable to someone else that's entitled to your record on your record. If you were disabled, how much, if you were to become disabled, how much your disability benefit would be. The second page has your earnings record. It's really important to check that earnings record once in a while. Any benefit that we pay to you, it's based on how much you've worked and paid into Social Security. So you want to make sure those earnings are correct. If they're not correct, for example, let's say there's a year there that shows a 0 and you know that you worked that year. You can provide your W-2 or your tax return right through your My Social Security account. You can upload that so we can add those wages to your record, because that can make a difference in what your monthly benefit will be. With this statement, again, it's a really great, starting place, but some of the information is limited. So for example, if you're looking at your earnings record, you can see some of the years there are all grouped together, and it only gives you the dollar amounts for each year. If you want more detailed information on your earnings record, you will get that through your My Social Security account when you log in. Also, it's limited information for your benefit estimates on the statement. So if you look at the chart there, it'll give you, what your benefit is at age 62, age 63, and so on. But maybe you want to know, what is my benefit going to be at age 66 and 6 months? You can do that through your My Social Security account. Here's an example of what that looks like. So once you log into your My Social Security account, you will see this retirement estimator or this retirement calculator, and you can change your retirement age or date. You can change that average future annual salary amount there, and you can just kind of play around in here to see how it's going to impact your Social Security benefit. So sometimes people will say, well, I'm going to stop working at 62, but I'm not going to collect my benefit until I'm 66. So how is that going to impact my Social Security benefit? So if you change that future average salary there to 0, that will give you a better estimate. Or maybe you're thinking about going part-time. If you want to change that future annual salary there to whatever that part-time work might look like, again, that's going to give you an estimate. So you can play around with different scenarios through your My Social Security account by using that retirement calculator. The last slide just has our contact information, our website, ssa.gov, a lot of great information on our website. We have a really great FAQ page that has a lot of information to a lot of questions on it. And I think it does a pretty good job of explaining things in a way that people can understand. I know this is complex. It's a ton of information, especially all at once. We also have our 800 number there if you have general questions, if you want to schedule an appointment. If you want to reach out to your local office directly, if you want to call them directly, if you go to ssa.gov/locator, you can put in your zip code and the contact information for your local office will come up by using that office locator. So that is the end of all of my slides. Again, I know it's a ton of information in a short amount of time. So please feel free to ask questions. It looks like we have some time left. So anything you have so far? Any questions so far?
Yeah, we do have some. And once again, I just wanted to, before we get into the Q&A, just want to thank you for always being so concise and making this topic, breaking it down in a way that's really very easy to digest. You just always do such a great job at that. So thank you for that. But yes, we do have one question that came through. This person joined a little bit late, so he apologizes if you did cover this, but they said, my wife is older than I am. She started taking her Social Security at 62. When I turn 62, can she claim half of mine if it's more than hers?
So, yes, once you file and start collecting, that's when she could be due that spousal benefit. Um, and she's still going to continue to get the benefits off of her own record, but there would be an additional spousal benefit, and the combination of the two would equal 50% of yours at your full retirement age. Even
Okay.
though even though you file at 62, the 50% amount is based on your benefit at your full retirement age.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And then if you are collecting a benefit prior to full retirement age and you have rental properties, how is that income treated?
I have to think about this. So if it depends on if it is a self-employment type business and you're claiming that as income, like self-employment, then we would look at it as wages. If not, it wouldn't be counted as wages. And there's I know that there is a policy on this because I know that I've gotten questions from financial advisors on this in the past, and I always have to look up the policy. It can be a little bit complex. If you go to our website, ssa.gov, and in the search box, if you want to try some different keywords, you could try like rental income property. You can look up, self-employment. You can look up just some different keywords there if you want to define the policy.
Okay. Sounds good. So yes, it sounds like the SSA website just it has probably answers to a lot of questions on there too. So definitely everyone check that out if you haven't been there, haven't set up that account yet. I know that can be very helpful. So, all right. Well, I don't have any other questions coming through at this moment. So, because you always just do such a great job explaining everything, even the questions that I had on my list here, you answered everything that that I was going to ask too. So, oh, there was one thing. So when you were talking about Medicare and if you're still covered by a group, if you're employed and covered by a group plan, do you have, so if you're not claiming Social Security yet, do you have to somehow inform Medicare that you're still covered under that group plan
No,
beforehand so you don't get penalized, or you just verify it after the fact?
you just verify it after the fact.
Okay.
That's a great question. That does come up sometimes where
Okay.
individuals will say, like, well, I'm 65. I don't need Medicare now. Like, do I need to contact Medicare? Do I need to tell someone? And the answer is no, you don't have to.
Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. Because I was just like, I know that 10% penalty, sounds like a lot. So I want to make sure that people know that it's okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, we don't have any other questions coming through. So thank you so much for being with us again, Hillary. Like I said, you always break this information. It's very detailed information. You break it down in such a way that clearly everyone has all their questions answered here. So that's really great. I also wanted to let everyone know we do have one more virtual seminar coming up towards the end of January. It'll be with our partners at GreenPath Financial Wellness, and it's focusing on fast tracking your debt payoff. So I know this is always a big issue, a concern for everyone in the beginning months of the year, as well as, right now. A lot of people are carrying debt, so this will really help to explain ways to get that paid down, to start tackling it, because I know that's something that can be hard, right? So, and on top of that, once you exit out of the Zoom tonight, there will be a short survey that pops up. So go ahead and take that. It's just a couple questions, but just to get your feedback on tonight, on our presenter, on any other, topics that you want covered in seminar series, so that we can get your feedback there. Oh, and in the meantime, we did have one more question come through. If you are working but planning to retire within 6 months, when do you apply for Medicare?
So it depends on how old you are. So Medicare eligibility, again, it starts at 65. If you're over 65 and you didn't file for Medicare because you've been working, I'm assuming that this is what this question refers to. You can apply for Medicare. We typically say 3 months before you want Medicare to start. So if you it kind of depends on when you want Medicare to start, though. If you don't want any sort of lapse in coverage, so meaning like, as soon as you retire, you have Medicare right away. I would say probably 2 to 3 months before you want that Medicare to start is when you should apply. But technically, from the time you retire and you no longer have that coverage, you have 8 months to apply for Medicare, and there won't be any sort of penalty to you. So it just kind of depends on when you want that Medicare to start. But if you don't want any sort of lapse in healthcare coverage, then probably 2 to 3 months prior to when that coverage is going to end is when you should apply.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap up then. So once again, thanks for being with us, Hillary. I'm sure we'll see you back sometime in the future, but thank you again for joining us this year. And if the audience has any other questions, you can always feel free to email me directly. You have my email from the Zoom confirmation that was sent, and I can always forward those over to Hillary and get some more detailed answers if you do have any questions. So thanks again, everyone, for being here, and we will see you at another seminar series event soon. Bye, Hillary.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.